Assistant Technology Solutions YouTube channel ቤተሰብ አሚን ይሁን አሚት ሆኑ ACS ምስ ኤሊዳ ወይ ድማ Empathy for Integrated Development Association ብምትሕብባር ገንዘብ ሓገዝ ዜናትን ኪንግደም ንደቂ ኣንስትዮ ዘተባብዕ ናይ AI ቪዲዮ ጀነሬሽን ውድድር መድረክ እንካያዱ ዝፍለጥ እዩ 14 ቪድዮታት ተዘጋጅየን ካብዘን 14 ቪድዮታት 4 ብናይ ደገ ራኛታት ሰሌክት ገይረን ንሽልማት በቂዕን ማለት እዩ ኣብ ላሕለፈ ንኣኹም ተመልከትና እተን ክልተ ምክፋልና ዝፍለጥ እዩ ልማዓንቲ ድማ እተን ዝተረፋ ክልተ ቪድዮታት ንኣኹም ተመልከትና ከንጋብዘኩም መፂና ኣለና ማለት እዩ ኣብ መጨረሻ ግን እተን ቪድዮታት ርኢኹም ሓሳብኩም ኣካፍልና ምክንያቱ ናትኩም ሓሳብ ንዓና ሃናፂና እዩ ኢልና ስለንሓስብ ሓሳብኩም ኣብ ኮሜንት ሴክሽን ኣካፍልና ሰብስክራይብ ጋር ድማ ቤተሰብ ይኹኑ ክንፈቱ ርግጠኛ እየ እቲ ቪድዮ ከም ትፈቱ ድማ ተስፋ ገብር ኣብ ቀጻሊ ተመሳሳሊ ቪድዮ ክሳብ ንራኸብ ሰሰናይናኹም ቻው
My story begins in the quiet rural town of Fialwuha, Tigray. Born as the eldest child, my early years were fractured when my parents separated. My father started a new family, creating a deep emotional gap. After spending my formative years with my mother, I eventually moved to live with my father, forced to adapt to an unfamiliar environment and navigate new family relationships. Life took a sharper turn when we relocated to Humera. Just 2 years later, tragedy struck. My mother passed away. This devastating loss forced me to mature instantly and carry emotional burdens far beyond my years. Yet, amidst the grief, I found purpose in education. Attending primary school in Turkin, Humera, I channeled my pain into focus, consistently ranking in the top 3 of my class. I later moved to Mekelle to live with my aunt for grade 11, adjusting to a new city before returning to Humera to complete grade 12 with academic excellence. Earning admission to Aksum University was a major milestone, but it came with severe financial challenges. I couldn't afford a smartphone for my studies, relying entirely on printed handouts. Despite this, I stepped up as a class representative. Then, during my second year, another devastation hit. My father suddenly passed away. Though it threatened to derail my entire journey, I chose perseverance over despair. When the COVID-19 pandemic closed universities, I was stranded in Mekelle with no support system and a strained relationship with my aunt. Thrust into survival mode, I began working as a demanding domestic worker. I eventually secured a job with a kind family, using my university ID as my only guarantee since I had no one to vouch for me. In that home, I found temporary stability, though my interrupted dreams still weighed heavily on me. Hearing that my stepmother was ill, I returned to Humera on October 29, 2020. Just 5 days later, war broke out. Chaos consumed the town, and my family fled to remote farmlands in constant fear. When we finally returned to town, trying to rebuild normalcy, we focused on our cultural duty, preparing for my father's asterisk Teskar memorial ceremony. To finance the ceremony and support my family, I started selling tea and coffee in a different neighborhood. While locals supported my hustle, the environment was highly dangerous, dominated by armed forces and intense ethnic divisions. One afternoon, a drunk armed man physically assaulted me and threatened my life at gunpoint. Though deeply traumatized, forcing me to hide for a week, I gathered my courage and returned to work. The terror didn't stop. Soon after, while sitting with a pregnant neighbor, 2 armed men confronted us. One tried to force me into a house at gunpoint while checking my phone. I stood my ground and refused to comply until my neighbor's husband bravely intervened and forced them to leave. Realizing my life was in imminent danger, I made the painful decision to flee Humera, but only after successfully completing my father's asterisk Teskar. Leaving my loved ones behind, I traveled through Gondar to Mekelle using only a university support letter. Eventually reaching Alamada with nothing, I started a small soap business to survive. While trying to rebuild, my brother informed me that relatives were being detained. I urged my family to relocate back to Fialwuha. Driven by the ongoing conflict, my brother made the life-altering choice to join the armed struggle, marking another painful separation for our family. Then, amidst the ashes of war, a call came to return to Aksum University. Despite the trauma of loss, displacement, and violence, I went back. My dedication culminated in March 2020. However, although I graduated with a GPA of 3.86, my life has not yet turned out the way I had hoped. Due to the current situation in Tigray and Ethiopia, there are very limited job opportunities, and I am unable to return to my hometown, Humera. At present, I am also living in a house rented by a friend, which reflects the challenges I continue to face while at our future.
The room was silent. Women sat quietly beside each other. Girls lowered their eyes. And as I looked at them, I recognized their pain, because I had carried it too. So before I asked them to speak, I shared my own story. My name is Atsade. I did not come here as a leader. I came as a survivor. I grew up in a small village in Tigray. Before sunrise, I carried water. I carried firewood. A girl's hands were never empty. But every night, I studied beside a weak oil lamp. I was tired. Still, I kept going, because education felt like hope. I worked in other people's homes, just to buy notebooks and pencils, not for comfort, only for a future. Back then, I believed my dreams were stronger than fear. My teachers believed in me. My community believed in me, and I believed life could become better. Then the war came. My school closed overnight. The future I imagined disappeared. The roads I walked to school became roads of escape. Families ran in every direction. For the first time in my life, I was separated. Held me tightly, but inside, I was no longer the same girl. I told no one what had happened, not even my mother. I carried the silence for years, and slowly, that silence became its own prison. I had survived, but the girl who once dreamed boldly felt completely lost. Then one day, I saw the same pain in